We have heard great and successful entrepreneurs in the world of combat sports, in which one of these great men is Joe Rogan. We know him to be the host of the Joe Rogan Experience, a podcast in which he discusses current events, politics, philosophy, comedy, science, and hobbies with a variety of guests. But apart from being the host of the biggest podcast in the world, Joe Rogan has also dwelled fully into acting, comedy, and MMA commentary. Even with all his achievements on stage, we still can't help but talk about him and how rich he is. That brings us here today. Welcome! In this video, we are going to talk a lot about Joe Rogan, his life and achievements, and most importantly, his net worth. So watch this video to the very end and get ready to be inspired. Also, remember to subscribe to our channel and click on the notification icon so you can stay updated with our videos. Without wasting any more time, let's get started. Joseph James Rogan was born on August 11, 1967. He is an American UFC color commentator, actor, podcaster, comedian, and former television presenter. Rogan began his career in comedy in August 1988 in the Boston arena. After he relocated to Los Angeles in 1994, he did sign an exclusive developmental deal with Disney. This made him appear as an actor on various television series, including NewsRadio and Hardball. He began working for the UFC as an interviewer and color commentator in 1997. Let's tell you briefly how he began his stand-up comedy career. Alright, Rogan began his career in 1988, but there was practically no intention of making a career out of it. The reason is obvious. Rogan was always more interested in martial arts. Little did he know that his stand-up career would become very successful. With this career, he was able to sign deals with the likes of Disney. Rogan has worked on a lot of different projects throughout his career, many of which will be featured in the highlights section as we progress. In 2000, he released his first comedy special, I'm Going to Be Dead Someday. He also hosted the game show Fear Factor from 2001 to 2006. With this series of hosts, he was already known throughout the world, and his financial status kept improving. When he launched the Joe Rogan Experience podcast in 2009, it has since become one of the most popular podcasts available. This could be the result of the interesting characters and conversations that tend to be featured on the show. We're getting closer to how rich Joe Rogan has suddenly become. Well, after leaving Fear Factor, he focused on his stand-up career and did host a lot of comedy series. The Joe Rogan Experience kept receiving millions of plays per episode. In fact, Spotify had to obtain exclusive distribution rights to the Joe Rogan Experience in 2020 for US $200 million. Joe Rogan's net worth as of 2022 is estimated at around $120 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. We already told you about Rogan's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, which recently sold exclusive rights to Spotify. Prior to this deal, the podcast was uploaded on his YouTube channel, Powerful JRE, which has over 10.7 million subscribers. Just from this podcast alone, Joe Rogan makes an annual sum of $60 million. Even if we don't want to talk about his podcast, how about his versatilities? We already know Rogan to be a comedian, actor, and UFC commentator. When Rogan appears on shows like Fear Factor and NewsRadio, he makes a whole lot from those shows. It has also financially set the tone for his other ventures. Let's now take you a bit more on Joe Rogan's salary. Alright, Rogan receives a basic fee of $5,000 just for covering a UFC bout. That's not all. He also receives an additional $50,000 for pay-per-view events. According to different reports, Joe Rogan could possibly over $100,000 per episode of his podcast. This is highly impressive. Even with all these achievements and his financial status, Rogan spends his money wisely. But how does he even spend it? Well, his expenses start with his home in California. Rogan's home is located in a fenced-in gated community in the hilled area of Bell Canyon. He acquired his home for $2.2 million. Rogan doesn't joke with his studio facilities. When he bought his home, he set up a 14,000 square foot recording studio and has spent millions of dollars getting it just right. Joe Rogan does have an indoor archery range with a digital target. He has a super expensive bow model, which costs over $1,200. He also has an awesome collection of Casio G-Shock watches. Did you also know that Joe Rogan has some views about politics? Well, he does. In 2020, CNN described Rogan as libertarian-leaning. Rogan holds a wide variety of political views. He also doesn't fall on any particular side of the political spectrum easily. Rogan also describes himself as a strong supporter of freedom of speech. He has also criticized cancel culture and what he perceives to be the suppression of those who hold right-wing views in the television and film industries. On a final note, here are some of the best highlights of Joe Rogan's career. 1. Began stand-up career, 1988. 2. Played Frank Valenti in Hardball, 1994. 3. Played Joe Gorelli in NewsRadio, 1995 to 1999. 4. Interviewer and color commentator for UFC, 1997 to present. 5. Hosted Fear Factor from 2001. 6. Hosted Late Friday, 2001 to 2002. 7. The Joe Rogan Experience, 2009. 8. UFC Ultimate Insider, 2013. If you enjoyed this video, do ensure to give the video a thumbs up, tap on that awesome subscribe button, and jingle that notification bell so you'll stay updated with our interesting videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.